this amazing international festival of yoga organized by Parmarth Niketan. It is for me, it was the first time I heard of Parmarth Niketan. It was because of the festival. People had spoken to me about it, saying it's a wonderful festival. And I did look it up, and then I found it in the airplane when I was traveling in the days before COVID, when you actually flew a lot. And I found the beautiful advertisement, please come to Rishikesh and join this festival of yoga. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How does it, why is this so unique, and how was the virtual version this year?
Sure. Yes, the yoga festival is such an extraordinarily beautiful opportunity we have, because Ektaji, our world is suffering. Our world is suffering. I'm in Los Angeles right now temporarily, and whether in LA, whether anywhere in the world, whether in India, people are suffering. And what people are suffering from falls into two categories. The logistic suffering, the suffering that we can alleviate through giving them food, giving them shelter, giving them medicine, giving them opportunities, giving them an education. But what so many people are suffering from is what we call the empty heart syndrome. So it's not the empty belly. It's not about feed me. It's the empty heart syndrome. It's the syndrome of there's food in my belly. I've got a roof over my head. I've got lots of educational opportunities and experience. I've got everything. There's nothing actually wrong that any doctor could diagnose. And yet, I live in a state of pervasive dis-ease. So it may not be a diagnosable disease, but it's a state of dis-ease. And that just, it's an epidemic. It's everywhere. People are really suffering. My favorite joke on this is the joke of the guy who goes to the doctor. And he says to the doctor, "Doctor, something is very wrong with my body. Whatever I touch, it hurts. When I touch my head, it hurts. I touch my stomach, it hurts. I touch my back, it hurts." And so the doctor runs every scan, every test. And he calls the man in and he says, "Well, the good news is there is nothing wrong with your head or your stomach or your back. The bad news is your finger's broken. And since your finger's broken, whatever you touch, it hurts. But it hurts not because the problem is outside, but because the problem is in the broken connection." And in our lives, that connection between that lowercase s self and the capital S self, that connection between this physical body that is born, that changes, that's got this physical brain full of chemistry and electricity that gives me these things I call emotions and anger and frustration and sadness and longing and desire. And it gives me thoughts that I attribute as myself, that I identify as I.
Mm-hmm.
When I identify as that being, that lowercase s self, we suffer. And so yoga, as you know, is that beautiful practice that unites us with the truth of who we are. And whether we use the word God, whether we say divinity, whether we say consciousness, whether we say truth, whether we say soul or spirit, whether we say love, They're all just different ways of speaking about that same truth of who we are. God is love. God is truth. Consciousness is one with divinity, right? So they're all just different ways of understanding that oneness. And that's the only cure to the way we suffer. And so the International Yoga Festival for us is an opportunity to give people a taste, a glimpse of what it might be like to not suffer for at least a little while. And whether it takes place in a class, whether it takes place walking through the gardens, whether it takes place in the sacred arti on the banks of Ganga, doing the Havan ceremony, whether it takes place in karma yoga and helping us clean trash off the banks of Ganga, whatever it may be, to give people that taste. There's a reason that so many people are coming to India for that. You can learn yoga on any street corner of any city in the world these days.
Yeah.
Now, when we started hosting this in 1999, that wasn't quite true, but certainly true today. And as the years have gone by, it's been interesting because as yoga has gotten more and more ubiquitous, spread throughout the world, rather than fewer people coming, more people have been coming. So it's been really obvious to us that it's not that people are coming just to learn asanas. They could learn that on their corner. You can learn that online. There's certainly enough people who are teaching yoga online, even pre-COVID, that you could learn. So why do they come? They come because they're looking for something that is deeper, that is fuller, that is more, that is not just about strength or limberness or flexibility, but that is actually about an end of suffering. You know, there's a beautiful line in the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna says, yoga is the cessation of the union with pain. So we try to really provide that. And, you know, we always say that Patanjali gave 8 limbs of yoga. And of course, you can't really have a class in samadhi. So we offer classes and programs providing the first 7 limbs. And then we have faith that with the grace of Mother Ganga, that 8th limb of samadhi will happen. So we really try to unite all of the best yogacharyas, the best teachers from so many different streams of asana, of pranayama, of meditation, but also to give that really core depth of yoga philosophy, of satsang, of getting closer and closer to that opportunity, that invitation for samadhi, for truth, for love, for yoga.
Wow. That's very, I think the empty heart syndrome being relieved even for a few days by coming to the yoga festival. It's already, I would say, a massive contribution to the way the world, I mean, today we are going towards an even emptier space because of the COVID. How was the virtual celebration this year, Sadhviji?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I mean, it was not obviously as nice as hugging people and being together and dancing and singing on the banks of Ganga. I mean, there's nothing that you can provide virtually that will give that experience of performing the arti, of doing the yagna, of singing, of dancing, of celebrating, of having Shivamani play his drums and we're dancing and you can't do that virtually. So it was wonderful in that it was a great gift to be able to offer that as people are at home, to be able to provide them with yoga in their homes. And by the way, it's actually still available. So if people are watching this and want to experience it, it's available through March, April, May. It's available through the first week of June. So you can actually go to internationalyogafestival.org and still register and still benefit from all of the classes, all of the programs. So we had really fantastic lectures and yoga classes and spiritual teachings. And of course, one of the benefits of being virtual is you're able to bring in people who otherwise might not be able to necessarily fly there. So that was a wonderful boon, a great blessing. But we're definitely looking forward to going live next year. But people absolutely should benefit from the real breadth and depth of what we offered this year. And of course, for the first time, we're able to keep offering it to people online for several months. So yeah, everybody should go and enjoy it.
I certainly will, because this has really got me interested. I didn't know that it was going to be still available. So this is very good news. Like, there's always the ups and the downsides to both things. And definitely, I would rather relate to the fact that it would be so much nicer to sit with you and talk with you on the banks of Ganga Maya, and sitting there being with you definitely would be a whole different experience. However, had we not had this virtual possibility, we wouldn't have been able to talk to you today.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. A great boon in that way.